Hey, welcome back to karinspapercraft. Thank you very much for watching. A while ago I bought these glass jars and you can put a small birthday gift in it or some money. Today I'll show you how you can make some cute gift wrapping around one and how you decorate everything with Stampin' Up paper and ribbon. I've made it a stash busting project, which is always a good thing, right? And since anything from Stampin' Up is coordinated, you can always use them, so that's no problem at all. In today's video, you can see how you can decorate the jar, how you can make the box. At the end, I'll show you how you can measure ribbon for boxes and how you can tie the ribbon on the box in this way. You can read more on my blog, the link is in the box below. Well, are you ready for it? Then let's begin. I will start by showing you how to put a belly band around the jar and how you can decorate the top of the jar. And for the belly band you need a piece of designer series paper and this is too small, I'm going to use that for the top of the jar. A piece of designer series paper which is, let me just check my notes, 2 inches by 5 inches. In centimeters, that is 5.1 by 12.7, so I'll cut it to 5 inches, which means that my band doesn't go all the way around the jar, but I like the idea of it not going all the way around it. And I'm going to put my trim up behind me, and see, this will fit around the jar like that, and there'll be a gap at the end. So first I'm going to put on some tear and tape, and I'm putting it at both ends, the small sides, and I'm going to stick it on. You may be hearing some background noises, that's my husband. I share my craft room with my husband, it's officially his office, so there you go. Now sometimes you see on YouTube people filming and they have a cat crawling across their desk. Well, I can promise you my husband is not going to crawl across my desk, but you may be hearing him in the background. The old shuffle or sniffle or cough, what have you. So this should do it for the tear and tape, and I'm going to make sure it adheres well. And I don't want my tear and tape to be without the backing paper all in the same go, so I'm going to do it like this, which gives me some room to get it positioned on my jar. So I'll remove part of the backing tape and I'm folding it towards the outside, like so. That gives me some leeway when I'm putting it on. See, now it's on straight. I can remove that end and push down, and now I can roll it and guide it, and then remove some of the backing tape as I go along, because if you have a longish strip, the chances that you are going all askew are there. So here, and then I can see it ends up more or less in the same position, and now I can remove this last piece of the backing paper and still push it around a bit, and you see now it's aligned properly, and then push down onto the tear and tape and it will be fixed. For the top I want a piece of the designer series paper as well, and I'm going to use a 1-inch circle punch for that. You could also use a 1-inch circle die if you have one, and I'm going to punch this and stick it on top if it wants to come out. There you are. Excuse me. And then I'm going to put some Seal Plus on the back and use that to adhere it to the top of the lid, and so as not to get my fat fingers in the way, I'm going to use some tweezers and then push down, and you see the jar is decorated and you can still see what's inside through that gap. If you wanted it to go all the way across, you would have to make it a 5.5-inch strip, so that would be 14 centimeters. Then it would go all the way around and then also go over that edge, but I like this one. Okay, so for the box, the only thing that I'm using today, which is the still current, is this paper, which is Summer Splash. And if you go to my blog, you can find details on all the non-current things I've used. And I have here a piece of cardstock, and you're going to need a piece which is 7.5 by 7.75. So I've taken out the arm. So first I'll do the 7.75 bit and cut it to size, and then 7.5. I'll give you the centimeters when I've finished cutting. In centimeters, that is 18.8 by 19.5 centimeters, and I'm going to score this. For the scoring for boxes, you can of course score with your trimmer, but for boxes I like to use the simply scored, because you don't have to open the arm every time. So with the 7.5 side top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, 2.25, 4, and 5.75. In centimeters, that is 1.2, 5.6, 10 and 14.4 centimeters, a quarter turn, and then you score. So this is the 7.75 side top, the 19.5 centimeters side top. You score at 1/2 inch, then at 2.25, so that's the same. But then you score at 5.5 and at 7.25. In centimeters, that is 1.2, 5.6, 13.9 and 18.3 centimeters. And then I'm going to show you how you can do all the cutting. First I'm going to fold and reinforce all my score lines. With that narrow strip to the left, this is going to be the top and this is going to be the bottom of the box. First I'm going to cut up all my score lines along the bottom. And along the bottom, this part has to be cut off entirely. So I'll start by doing that. And so you wedge here, that's the glue flap, and then you cut away this end. Just a bit deeper. There we go. Then this is going to be the flap that you use to tuck into the box. So these two have to be shortened. And I'm going to use my trimmer for that. You can cut them by hand, but with my trimmer I get them straight and two in one go. So you put it on the 1-inch score line there and you cut off both ends. Now be sure to tuck behind that one because you don't want to cut that one away. Now that's important. So these two you can wedge. Like so. And this one I'm going to use a corner rounder, so I'm cutting it up straight and then I'm moving towards the right. Here too, cut up straight and then cut towards the right. I hope you can see what I've done. Where did I put my... I'll put something dark underneath. There we go. See? So now I'm going to use a corner rounder and round these corners. I think that makes it a nice look. There we are. Okay, then I've decided to leave my trimmer on my desk for the moment. For the top part, you're going to cut away that one. These will be, across will be the flaps, and this is going to be the tuck-in flap. So here again, I'm going to cut up the score lines first of all. And while I'm at this end, I can wedge it. So cut these up straight. This one has to be removed, so you fold back that flap and you, along the score line, you make a cut. There you go. And as I said, these two opposite those flaps will have to be shortened. So I folded back that flap. Again, I'm putting it against the 1 inch mark there and cut. Now I can remove my trimmer. And I'm going to wedge again and treat that tuck-in flap the same way I did on this side. And with that same 1 inch punch, I'm going to notch it. So that's the basics of the box. Then I'm going to show you how you can create the paper panels to decorate the box with, like so. And for that you need a piece of designer series paper. And I'm going to cut a strip of that and I've put everything on top of my notes. Sorry about that. You need some designer series paper, which is 3 inches. And from that strip I'm going to cut 4 pieces, 5 really, of 1.5 inches, and I'll use that end of my trimmer. I could use that end too, but this is quicker, because if you butt it up against that grey line there, that's 1.5 inches. And I'm going to put these on my box in the same order that I cut them. Let me move this over a bit like that. So, okay. So 4 pieces, well 5 really, of 1.5 inches. Cutting, not scoring, Karen. And this piece, I'm going to take my punch to it before I stick it down. If you cut them like this and put them on in the order in which you cut them, you get a continuous pattern on the box, which looks nice. Again, Karen, not scoring, cutting. And this final piece, 1.5, the 5th one, is going to be for the top of the box. So I'll cut it again at 1.5 inches, and then it is the right size for that part and that part. And this one has to go on like that. I'll show you later, because that's how you fold the box together, and the bottom flap, it doesn't really matter. So before I stick them on, I'm going to use the 1 inch circle punch again, making sure it is roughly in the middle, and cut a notch so that when you stick it on, it has the same distance as the rest, you see. So I'm going to stick these on. If you've watched my videos before, you know that this is the way I stick-on panels. I put some seal in the middle and then liquid glue around it. That gives me room to slide the paper around. I push down in the middle when I'm happy with where it is, and then it is immediately stuck, and then the glue can adhere. So for the bottom piece, it doesn't really matter where you stick it on. Let me just put some glue on, and I'll show you, as I promised with the top piece, how you're going to fold the box together. So this is the bottom adhered. So when you put the box together, this is how people will see it, because there's the notch. So you want your decoration to go on like that, you see, which means that you put it on for your view in this way, upside down. Otherwise your cherries will be upside down. It's not a big deal, but it looks better if they're not. Okay, that's the gluing done. Everything is nicely adhered. I'm going to put my paper behind me. Okay, then I'll show you how you can assemble the box. You put some tear and tape along that edge, that's the glue flap. And then it's quite easy to assemble the box. I'll show you. Fold it over like that, and then use something pointy to remove the backing paper, and then all you have to do is fold that piece over and it will be a perfect fit. I usually do it like that again, so it adheres well, and then you can see you can slide the flaps in and you have a cute little box. I promised to show you how I measure tape for a box. What I usually do is I put it on my grid paper, the bottom part, the side and the top, that is about 7 inches. Then I add about 2 inches for the bow, and because these are equal sides you have to multiply it by 4, so 7 inches times 4 is 28 inches, so 30 inches. In centimeters that will be about 80 centimeters. So 30 inches, I'm going to measure that on my grid paper. So there's 15, and then this is the halfway mark. It doesn't really matter if it's 30 or 31 inches, because you want some room to be able to tie the knot as well. So you start with the box, and then you have this notch thing. So you start with putting it over. So I've taken it halfway, and I'm putting it over the front and the back first of all. Turn around the box, and then cross out the bottom. Move back up again, and I'm going to slide the ribbon under that top ribbon. This isn't always easy. I'll get something to poke it up a bit, to lift it as it were. That's better. Just an embroidery needle. And then here as well. Okay, now it slides under nicely. There you go. And then I like to put a knot on top to start with. So I put my finger on top, and then I tie a simple knot like that. Okay. I'm looking for the front of the box. Here it is. See, my ends are sideways now. And then I can make a loop. The left one goes over the right one. You push it through, and you pull tight, and you see your bow is in the right direction if you look from the front of the box. You can adjust your ribbon if you like, make your loops a bit smaller, and then tie the knot again. If you want to, you can neaten it up by pulling on these sides, and then you can shorten the ribbon. And what I like to do is take a lighter and just very, very lightly melt the ends, and then you have a cute little box. It won't stay absolutely flat. See, it wobbles a bit, but that's because you've got that turning point there at the bottom, but who cares? So, oh dear, I forgot to put my bottle in. Well, never mind. The glass jar, it is the same size as the box. It will fit in there, believe me. Okay, so, oh, and by the way, should you not have a jar like this, the box on its own is cute as well, wouldn't you agree? So, oh, it's fold flat, so it's easy to store. This is my prototype. See, I can show you. It's fold flat. Oh, and I can use my prototype, see, to show you that the jar will fit in. It's not really a bottle, it's a jar, Karen. See, open it up, put the jar inside, and you have a lovely gift. I hope you found my tips on measuring and tying the ribbon helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens.